Intro. Hey guys, welcome to Were You Watching That? The movie podcast where three friends hang out and talk about our movie of the week. We will be spoiling the movies that we watch, so we suggest watching before tuning in. I'm Taylor, and I am here with Megan and Renee, and today we are talking about the 1998 movie, The Truman Show. Truman! All right, Renee, take it away.
Okay. I'm on my phone and I have to switch apps, so hopefully I don't disappear or go silent. So let's give it a
Fine.
shot.
My
Okay. Let me just run through like synopsis of the Truman Show and then I'll start with my questions and stuff. So, The Truman Show is a 1998 American psychological comedy drama film written and co-produced by Andrew Niccol and directed by Peter Weir. The film depicts the story of Truman Burbank, played by Jim Carrey, a man who is unaware that he's living his entire life on a colossal soundstage and that is being filmed and broadcast as a reality television show that has a huge international following. All of his friends, family, and members of the community are paid actors whose job it is to sustain the illusion and keep Truman unaware about the false world he inhabits. So, I just want to start with like your impression. Do you remember the first time you watched it? And if you do, how do you feel about it now as a 30 something age person? How has it changed to you? So, Taylor, would you go first?
So I don't remember the first time I watched it, but I do remember feeling like I was like, "Oh, ha 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 ha! This is really funny," as like a concept. Oh, ha ha ha! Being watched for reality television. That's silly. That would never happen. Except now we're in 2025 and Love Island exists and they're recorded 24/7, but also like I don't want to be like Big Brother, but like Big Brother. But
The show Big Brother, yes.
um no, and I thought it was funny at the time, but also it like instilled a fear of me of like, and I don't think I realized until I rewatched it this time where I was like, I have been scared that like what if somebody's watching me through my mirror? Like, you know what I mean? Like what if there's a secret camera somewhere? It like instilled a weird paranoia in me that I like for the longest time I was like, where the fuck did this come from? But every time I think I watch The Truman Show, I'm like, oh.
It's part of my, okay, I'm just gonna throw this in real quick. It was part of my fun facts, but okay, I gotta find it. Where's my little fun facts? So there is a Truman Show delusion, also known as as Truman syndrome or Truman disorder. It's a type
Right.
of delusion in which the person believes that their life is a staged reality show or that they are being watched on cameras. The term was coined in 2008 um, on film boards by brothers Joe Gold and Ian Gold, a psychiatrist and neurophilosopher, respectively, after the show. It is not an official, recognized, or listed like diagnosis. It's just kind of like I don't know, nothing to talk about. So I'm not saying that you have Truman Show disorder,
I
but
got Truman Show disorder.
it is a thing that I think obviously some people identify with at a more
Yeah.
extreme level.
Yeah, no, I just think every once in a while I'll look in the mirror and I'm like, oh my God, what if somebody is watching me? Oh my God. What if my webcam is secretly on? I mean,
My webcams have covers.
mine doesn't, but I also like whatever.
The difference does the webcam having a cover make when I have my phone all the time and it's
Yes.
me always two cameras like
It was actually a documentary. When I watched it today while I was at work, but I was watching it and it went from like being haha funny to being like, this is crazy. Like nothing that he has lived through is real. Like, how is he going to function outside of this bubble that was created? And also, I'm pretty sure that in a different world, the creator, the like head guy would be like a serial killer. That guy, there's something wrong with that man that created the Truman Show. Like not the like in the movie. I just I really liked it, but the more I watched it, the more I was like, this is messed up. This is so messed up. Like, oh my God. I don't have any
Every
specifics, but like, oh my God.
every time I watch The Truman Show, I will fall into a rabbit hole of thoughts for days. Like good or bad, I don't know, but like I love this movie. So Megan.
I don't remember the first time I ever watched it. I do know it was one that was like a regular movie that was played like just on TV, and I think a lot of my first times watching it were just like picking up at random points in the plot and just watching, oh, we'll watch from here or watch from here. So it took a very long time for me to actually sit and watch the entirety of it in a continuous um set, amount of time and not just broken up. I definitely remember thinking it was super interesting as a kid and thinking, wow, that's crazy. And again, finding funny. Now it's just more of this sad ethical dilemma and
Actually, though,
and
Saul.
the more moral implications and ethical implications of just creating that kind of show. And like I said, like kind of you touch on the psychological implications and the psychological damage that would occur to someone in that kind of environment. What would happen after the movie ends? After he goes through and it walks into the real world, like it would not be good. It would not be good. Humans are not made to withstand that.
No.
Um, and even though it's supposed to be like, even though, yes, it is like a very uplifting ending in many ways, like you're very excited and proud and happy and hopeful. Now rewatching it, I see it much more cynically. I don't know if it's because I'm older or just because the world we live in. I don't know. But it just seems, like I said, I just think about, oh no, now what are we gonna run into?
Is there a part of you that kind of agrees with like the director when he's like talking to Truman and he's like, out here you're safe and like you know that you're not going to fail and you're taken care of, whereas out there, like it's bad out there. Like you're kind of just like, yes, put me in this weird dome.
Only in the sense of Truman, but even then, again, there's that moral and ethical dilemma of like, you created this. This
Yes.
man created this horrendous situation,
Nothing in his
this
life is
psychological
real.
experiment, and basically created a human who probably can't function in the outside world. And that's just really sad, right? And like, on one hand, it's like, hey, is it more ethical to keep him in this scenario that we created or release him into a world we know he can't function?
Does his education count? Or does he have to go through school all over again? Is this going to be a little, what's that Adam Sandler movie? I know what I'm thinking of. It doesn't matter.
I think I know, but I can't think of the name.
Yeah, where he goes back to school. My brain's like Little Nicky, but that's the one with the devil.
Gil? No.
No.
No, I'm
God.
never gonna think of it. They
Oh
all
my
kind of
God.
mush into one. It's fine.
No, I know which movie you're talking about, but like anyone listening is going to be screaming at their TVs, being like,
Yeah. We're like, it's this movie! How do
Billy
you not know
Madison.
Adam Sandler?
Billy Madison.
Thank you. I
There
was
you
gonna look it
go.
up. Um,
Oh, that's I got worried. Okay.
his education just doesn't count. He's got to go through all the schooling all over again. Also, you have to deal with the fact that like none of it was real, but it was real to him.
And now
Oh,
people are going to react in more unpredictable ways because
Everybody everybody knows everything about him,
and he knows.
and he knows
he's
nothing.
he's
Oh my God.
essentially theoretically he would essentially have to live in a similar bubble, but not. Like no
A
one would be
retirement
watching
home.
him, but he would be isolated. He would have to live in an isolated scenario because everyone knows everything about him and thinks they know him and what's going on in his head. And in some ways they do, but in other ways they don't. Right? Again, it's an interesting study in like parasocial relationships, which I think
That's
is
it.
interesting in the modern context compared to like, yes, like that sort of like parasocial relationships and that interested in celebrity and all that definitely was a big thing in 1988. But I feel like now with social media and vlogging and people basically creating their own, my dang light. I think my light's overheating. Anyway, this is what we're getting now. Um, People have almost created their own version of the Truman Show through vlogging and social media. They are the ones creating it and constructing it, right? Like they are aware of the scenario that they've put themselves in. They are aware that their life is being broadcast because they are the ones doing it.
Yeah.
But
But is there a point where some people keep it going because they feel obligated to keep it going? I think there's some people
probably
who definitely do.
Yeah.
I can see that. I can definitely see that because the parasocial relationship, in many ways, I guess it's kind of one-sided because people think they know you when they don't actually know you, and then they become very committed to your life, even though like you're on the other side of the world and you've never actually spoken to each other. But then you have the other side of the creator who feels this obligation to their audience, to these people, and yeah, and then putting themselves at increasingly unsafe scenarios to keep things going. And it's, yeah.
I feel like Truman Show is like, I don't want to say ahead of its time.
Oh, it was. I think so.
Yeah, I just feel like no one could have predicted
Yeah.
the world being what it is right now, the access to everybody and cameras and stuff that we have now at the time that that was made.
Hmm.
It's just really cool to look back because like a little window of the 90s there. This is, what life was like. And then barely 30 years later, it's like, are we almost in a Truman Show ourselves?
Yeah.
With the level of cameras and like how many people in your neighborhood have a Ring camera? How many people probably saw me fall on my ass when I fell off the skateboard? Because
Everyone on the street.
Yep.
a car did drive by. Maybe they had a dash cam. Like
Yeah.
Yeah.
how many houses were there that like they probably saw that. So keep your eye out on Fail Army. I might be there. Okay. I'm just gonna real quick do my impression and then I'll move on. So I also don't quite remember the first time I watched it. I do remember it was a movie that we watched in it was like grade 12, like Comtech or something, because I don't know, the teacher was feeling lazy and it was a way to be like cameras, sound, editing, all the behind the scenes that goes into making like a production. So, we watched that. And then yes, every time I watch it, like I said earlier, I just fall into like a deep rabbit hole thinking of all these things about it. Um, and I think as I get older, like we've said, my views and like my feelings of it have changed, especially as like technology has advanced and we are where we are right now with the level of technology and cameras and everything.
Mhm.
So it's just interesting how like my feelings about the movie like evolve over time. It's very cool. So, kind of like as a question, like what is the message or the meaning of this movie? And like I have this little clip, this little blurb that I don't know who wrote it, I just had seen it. That says the film's exploration of media manipulation, surveillance, and the constructed nature of reality, but is also interpreted as a physio Jesus, philosophical commentary on free will, societal control, and the search for authentic self-discovery in a staged world. So that was a blurb. I thought that was pretty well summarized, but I want to hear what you guys think. Taylor, go first.
Oh no.
Your
Stop hitting me first.
face. I was like, that's the one. Okay.
It's the don't pick me, don't pick me, don't pick me.
Okay.
My
Next time.
entire school career. Um, what do I think this movie means? I don't know, man. I don't think about movies all that hard. I don't think about movies all that hard. Just because, you know, I know that I absorb it and I know the message, and when I'm watching it, it's there, it's in my brain. But then after, I'm just kind of like, oh, it was a good movie, and then it's just like
Yeah.
gone. Yeah. Definitely whatever the blurb was. Agree. Uh 100%. I concur indubitably. I think that like it's definitely kind of no, I got nothing. I got nothing. I don't even
All
think I
good.
understood all the words that you said in the blurb.
Okay.
Yeah.
Hey, Megan, what you got?
Yeah. Well, sorry. I've been out of school for a really long time and I went to art school. I don't know the meaning of words. Megan?
Well, I definitely agree with the exploration of free will and what it means to live in a authentic, authentic, uh, authentic life within a manufactured world, which again, it's interesting to that is how, like in 1998, people were already kind of perceiving the world and perceiving things as being very fake and very performative. And I feel like, again, maybe it's very cynical, but it's just gotten worse from there. I feel like, but we've also been working towards trying to live more authentically, but I feel like it's because it's with the rise of social media, everyone's projecting the idea of being authentic and trying to self-actualize, but the constant cameras has prevented that, right? So it's I guess what we like thinking back to the movie with Truman, it's interesting to see because you can debate has he been able to fully self-actualize in this environment because everything has been geared towards him and his interest, kind of his interests, his needs to a degree. I mean, clearly he is someone who wants to travel, he is someone who wants to check things out and wants to go outside of his town and wants to do different things, and they've to kind of to create continue keeping him in this bubble and continue this illusion. They purposely block him at different stages in his life, right?
Yeah.
Such as the first girlfriend who starts to feel the ethical dilemma of what she's doing and is wanting to try and tell the truth. So they boop, ship her out, get her out of there. We're gonna bring in a different love interest. Then well, we're gonna instill a fear because we don't want you to ever leave the island, so now we're gonna make you afraid of the water.
Mhm.
So now you're not gonna want to travel, but he still does. The desire is still in there to do those things, right? So you could debate, has he been able to fully find his authentic self? Or is he still, because of this manufactured world, completely unable to do so because he hasn't had proper free choice and free will? Because that has, like I said, a lot of things have been put in his way throughout his life to keep him in this bubble, right? So that has completely inhibited his ability to have true free will in the world, right?
Hmm.
Despite the fact that they're like, oh yeah, like you made these decisions, this is your life. It's like, but we haven't. We
There
haven't.
was,
He hasn't truly made any decision
there
ever in
was,
his life.
yeah, I forget exactly the quote, but the creators like we accept the reality that we're given or something like that. He also said something that was like, um, God, I wish I could remember it better. It was like there's something about just they're not influencing Truman. They just are control. I forget. God, I'm so sorry. Maybe I'll look it up and we
Okay.
can like squeeze it in at the end because I summarizes the like free will. Like, of course he has free will in a controlled environment kind of
Yeah.
thing.
But is that true free will, right? So with that idea of, oh, we're still allowing him to do these things, have these wants, but in yes, this controlled environment, but it's like an environment heavily influences people. The environment you live in and the things you grow up around it inform your view, and it heavily is going to heavily influence all your choices. So he has been put into a hyper controlled reality, a hyper
Mhm.
specialized reality, which also is interesting because it's a frozen time period as well.
Yes.
It is a frozen time period. It's very like 50s, like American dream, even though in the outside world it's the 90s.
Hmm.
right? It's much that his constructed reality is not the same as the time period in which is occurring in the outside world. And I think it's that it's very interesting because it would be interesting to like kind of talk to the character of Truman after all this to see what his worldviews are and what his social views are. Because if you look at, okay, if we've got this like 1950s reality
He
that
doesn't
they
know
have
about
constructed and
Vietnam.
created, what are his views on people? What are his views on the world and different cultures? Because, like, okay, if this is the time period, this very pristine 1950s American dream idea is what has been given to him and what has been presented. What kind of worldview has that created in him? That and the lack of exposure to other views, right?
Also, is he up to date on current events? Like, do they give him television news broadcasting of like, here's the current president and here's like current, things are happening in the world. Like, is he still in the loop?
I feel like no. Personally,
If the
I feel like
creator
he has
is,
no idea of what is happening within the world outside of his town. Maybe they've made up a couple of little things, but does he? I don't think he would. Like, how would you explain that? How would you explain if you put him in this little bubble and now we're going to tell him news about, like, say, technology, like a technological advance, right? That doesn't
Well, I
fit.
guess that's the thing. They would be picky about what they expose him to.
True.
But, like, you know, current president, who's the Pope, someone went to space, like things that that won't necessarily change how he lives his life, but just, world events. Does he know them? Are they current?
What did they teach him in terms of history as well? That would be an interesting question. Like when because he clearly did attend some form of school, like he did clearly attend schooling. What did they cherry pick to teach him?
I mean, it wasn't real. It's like going to Degrassi, right? I'd
Yeah.
imagine.
Most likely, but it's just, oh, interesting thought experiment right there, right?
Yeah.
Mhm.
I feel like the creator would be very careful about what he would introduce to him because his whole thing is to like protect him from the evils of the outside world, right? So
Yeah.
like I don't think like maybe he does know about the president, but like does that mean that Truman voted? Does he know about the other candidates?
Mm.
Yeah.
Or is it a fake constructed president that exists only inside of this bubble? Because I feel like that is something more likely that the creator would do in order to like we're going to create a candidate that Truman for sure would vote for and then like a bunch of other people that don't matter. And then his pick is going to win. And then we don't hear anything else from him because it's just everything in that world is created to cater to Truman. Like even his boss was like, "Hey man, like you're falling behind on things, on like your whatever insurance quotas, whatever the fuck insurance people do."
Or like, there's no real insurance, there's nothing to sell. You've got everyone is fake.
No. So it's like he even like his boss is like doing things in order for him to get ahead. Like, does Truman even like insurance? Does he wants to travel, so if he knew about the moon landing, I don't think that he would know about the moon landing because that might want inspire him to travel more,
Yeah,
right? So I
Yeah.
feel like they would be very careful, but also we see fake news headlines too, right? So I think it's all constructed. I think every single piece of it is carefully thought out,
I think.
which is awful.
Dream world building.
Yeah,
One
And
of like
he's playing D&D but with real people.
one of like the biggest things that like send me into like my little rabbit hole of thoughts is like the people who are actors. So actors implies that they are paid to do their job. And it's like, what's the point of them being paid if they are living on the soundstage with him 24/7? What does their money pay for? They're not living in their own house. They're not having their own family. They're not living their own life. They're 24/7 with Truman.
Hmm.
Like,
Yeah.
well, what's the point? I think if they were to like, okay, like I know it's a movie, right? But I feel like if they were to make this like real, it's like why wouldn't they just put people who volunteer to just be like, yeah, I'm going to be on this forever. I agree to this, and just like drop them in the soundstage with him. And like no actor names, like my name's Jamie, and for real, they introduce themselves to Truman as Jamie. Like they just live their life
Hmm.
alongside
Yeah.
Truman, acknowledging that they're being like recorded the whole time.
But that could bring into the trouble because theoretically, if you are paying actors, they are now obligated to follow your script, as opposed to a volunteer who is now dropped into the scenario. There's no financial or otherwise obligation to follow the predetermined script or
That's
follow a
true.
predetermined storyline. They can do whatever the fuck they want. They can blow it out of the water, right? Um, okay, another thing I kind of thought of, and maybe this is just I'm this is too much of a hyperfixation right now. Could you debate that this is a form of a cult with our creator as the leader,
Yes.
Yeah, the
manipulating
audience.
everything and everyone under him with high control? Because even the actors, right? You see the one who wants to try and get Truman out and take and kind of break out of this. She is disappeared. Like, albeit, yes, she's like ripped out of the scenario and plopped back into reality.
Fired.
She's not like she's fired, but she is. She's disappeared. You are gone. You are done. You are no longer a part of this, which then
Yeah. Like you disobeyed the creator. See ya.
exactly. So that now instills that like you better not, if you want to stay here, you
This is
better
why
not.
I said he was a serial killer. He wants like a certain level of control that he can't get from other people and
Yeah.
that is missing from his life. So he, as a whatever corporation, adopted a baby so he can control it to like the finest detail.
Yeah.
Whereas in regular life, he wouldn't be able to do that. And I think that that's yes. Everybody behind him is like, this guy's a genius. He got this
Cult,
baby and he has this like this
cult leader.
idea. Oh, it's so good. It's so amazing. And then it's like, no, no, you want to drown him? It's like, well, you
Just
know,
a little bit,
he
just to
was
scare
born
him.
on screen. He might as well die on screen. And you're like, oh, maybe we've gone too far. I think
Yeah. Okay.
Paul Giamatti and everybody else was like, oh, right. So this is where this is headed. But then you have like that entire restaurant or that diner or whatever where like everybody's just watching the Truman Show. I'm like, how is first of all, how do
And
you
no one,
function in society if you know that Truman is being shown 24/7 and you're like,
Yeah. Like
what if
what?
you miss something? There's no
Yeah, what do
reruns.
you tune into?
there would have to be a specific channel that's just constantly going.
Yeah, I think there
And
was.
yeah, and
Uh,
then yeah, people would constantly be watching or constantly updating each other and be like, oh, this is what happened, this is what happened. It'd be this constant news cycle. And again, you could also debate, like, not only is this incredibly unhealthy for Truman and even the actors, the people directly involved, but for the people in the outside world consuming this form of media,
Those
that is
bald ladies.
incredibly unhealthy. Like you should not be this invested in a person, right?
Dude,
Like that is not even within your actual bubble. Plus, the fact that people were able to, like this group doing this experiment is able to now convince the greater public that this is fine.
yeah,
This
this is
is
okay.
okay. There's no moral quandary here. And no one or very few are pushing back and being like, hey, maybe this isn't such a great idea. Maybe this is child abuse.
I mean, there was some glimpses. You don't see anyone more than I can't. What's her name? Sylvia.
Hmm.
So you don't see anyone else other than her protesting it because like when the
Yes.
camera when you see her in her house watching it, you see in the background she's got like protest signs and
Yeah.
stuff to like free Truman, but you don't see anyone else. Like you don't know how many people agree with her.
Yes.
You just see her. But
But
so
it is
that
like if there is signs, that does imply that there is at least some form of group that
yeah.
agree.
Yeah.
And the people that have broken into the Truman Show to like be like, I'm on the show, they've just done it for the novelty of being like, I made it, I broke into the show, and like I made it on TV. Like they haven't done it to like freak Truman.
Yeah.
Yeah.
My next, it's funny we started talking about the creator and control because that was my next point. I said, let's talk about the creator and how badly he wanted to control the story to the point that he was going to drown Truman. And it's just like,
Dude's fucked
oh
up.
my God, yeah. It was yeah, the when the executive was like, we can't do that, and he was like, he was born on screen, and it's just like, oh, damn, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yikes.
So
Yeah. I get yeah. It's he clearly had some psychological things going on where he did feel he needed to exert control,
Yeah.
extreme control, not only over an individual person, but over like this entire studio, this entire production. Like I said, I don't think I'm too far off. Like I said, I am hyper focused, researching a lot about cults and all that, but I don't think I'm too far off. I don't
No.
think I'm too far off. I feel like he does show a lot of traits of being that charming. Like you said, everyone thinks he's a genius. He's a genius. Charismatic leader. Charismatic leader convinces people to do morally ethical, like morally corrupt things. And it's
It's not
like,
even charisma. It's like he's got this like calm, soothing way of speaking that I
yeah,
think a lot of either cult leaders, I've listened to a lot of podcasts about this, but it's when you listen to like how they speak and like the flow of their like
yeah,
voice is really kind of like what sucks people in.
yeah,
And like he definitely has that, and that might just be the actor, but he definitely has that like he could, say the right amount of words in the right order and people would follow
yes,
him. And obviously he has because he was able to adopt a baby as a studio,
yeah,
like
which is
what?
wild.
But like the control over his employees, like he got mad at them when they were like Truman's doing something out of character. Like, why didn't you tell me? Like he's mad at them for not keeping him in the loop. So he lost a little bit of control there, and he
Yeah.
got really mad at them.
Truman is his. Nobody else's. It's his. And I
Yeah.
feel like that's how he sees Tr Truman is that like he belongs to him, even though he's not the one that adopted it. It was like the company that did, right? But he sees Truman is his project. The Truman Show is his, like, a passion project. That's what it is. And any like misstep is gonna fuck shit up. Mm,
I think
which is a mess.
his next goal for the show, I think it was mentioned a couple times, was like the first like how was it phrased? On TV or live on air, like conception of a baby. That was like his next thing. Like weird.
oh
So
yeah,
weird. But then,
Weird.
but then you also have like those security guys being like, they don't show anything. They just like cut away and like they're disappointed that they're not
Yeah.
actually seeing them
I mean,
first, which is kind of like, I get it, but it's just these
like
things
I
get
don't
really
think
confused.
the point was not for like the people to see it. I think the point was for the creator to just be like, this happened, not for
Okay, but
everyone to
she
see.
doesn't even love him. It's just a job. Come on. And then they just wrote her off the show. She was like, "Oh,
Because
she can't control Truman. We're gonna write her off, and then we're gonna find a new love interest because we can make Truman fall in love with anybody."
look, well, she was also you hear her yelling like when
Do
the friend
something.
no, she's just like I can't work in these conditions. It's unprofessional. It's like okay, what do you mean you can't work in these conditions?
She wasn't prepared for Truman to lose his goddamn mind, which honestly, nobody was.
Yeah. Okay, what's my next little thing in here?
Can I just
I
say that like every time have you guys seen the Sherman and the Mr. Peabody and Sherman animated movie? Okay,
have not.
well, first of all, it's great. And I might have to rearrange my list so that we watch it. But um Mr. Peabody is a dog, and he's the first dog to adopt a boy. And Mr. Peabody is like
Okay.
a genius, and like he's a talking dog, and it's great. But he's the first dog to adopt a boy, and he went to like the government. He had to go on trial to like have his rights to adopt it. So every time they brought up this, like, you're the first company to like adopt a baby, and I was like, well, Mr. Peabody did it. So
Oh God. Maybe I will watch it.
you should.
Maybe
It's
I'll watch
good.
the book.
It's really funny.
Okay, so yeah, my next thing is what how they explain that they make revenue, which is like product placements and that everything that you see on TV is for sale. And that like that just when they do the product placement was always cracking me up because she was like, I've tried other Cocos and this one's the best. And he's like, what are you doing? Like so funny. Love the way they do that. And same with like the lawnmower. That was a specific one that really stood out. Um,
Every
yeah,
time
I
the
think
twins stopped to talk to him and they pushed him up against a different billboard.
Yeah.
Yeah.
did they
Yeah.
Yes.
totally
Every
see
time
that?
they stopped to talk to him, they were like, "Hey man," and they like shoved him up against the wall so that the camera was facing him and whatever the poster was behind them. There's
Check out.
also like when you see the old ladies, they're wearing
Yes, the
the
robe.
the robe as her, and at the end in that bar, you see another lady sitting at the counter. She's like sobbing. She's very upset, but she's wearing the dress that whatever his wife's name, Marion, whatever, was wearing. Like when you first see her, the checkered one with the big collar and the flowers and the red zigzags. I really liked it. I would have
Um,
bought it. But like she's also wearing it. And I'm sure there's maybe other instances, but like,
I
yep.
think that was just hilarious how the product placements were so obvious. But then that also brings up if Truman doesn't know anything differently, and if people were just dropping product placements, why did he think that was odd? Do you know what I mean? If it was,
You think he would be like, this is just how people talk.
I
he would
think
just
it
be like,
was context, right? Like he's clearly going
"Hmm,
through like he's going through a psychotic break, right? He's losing his mind. He's all of these things are being like pointed out to him that is like he's starting to realize things, right?
right."
That like, oh, there's a light falling from the sky. Oh, when I go into this building, the elevator isn't real. Oh, the radio is listening to me. Those sorts of things. So he's starting to realize and he's trying to have like a real conversation with his wife. And she's like, well, why don't you try cocoa? I've tried other cocos and la la. He's like, no, I'm trying to like, what the fuck are you talking about? I
Yeah,
want to go to Fiji. I want to travel. I feel like I'm losing my mind and you're talking to me about cocoa? That's not what's important to me
true.
right now. I feel like that it was just like if he wasn't going through this um gross. If he wasn't going through this right now, then I don't think would have like noticed it.
Yeah, he
But
didn't
obviously
seem
he
that
hasn't.
phased. He didn't seem that phased about the lawnmower one. That one seemed a little more like just
Or
subtle.
the slicer, dicer,
Oh
shredder
yeah.
kitchen tool. She's like, look at what I got. It does all these things. It slices, it dices, it la 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 la's. And he's just like, okay,
Cool.
cool.
Because like she probably has done that many times before, or he's just like she comes home and he's just like cool, cool new stuff, yeah.
Great. And then she's like, you missed a spot. And I'm like, you hate him.
That
You
was I
hate
think supposed
him.
that was supposed to be flirty.
It wasn't. You missed a spot. You're badonk. It's just up in the air, Truman. You
Any
missed
other
the spot.
thoughts
It's
on the
that ass.
for sale? Okay, I thought it was so interesting how quickly everyone accepted the show ended and they just moved on. So like the security guys were they were like, yeah, what else is on? They're like, yeah, let's see what else. Where's the TV guide? And they just were fine with it. They just moved on.
Yeah, like it didn't consume the past 30 years of their life.
Right? Because those guys were, I'm going to assume they were older. So either they, like, they've seen the beginning or they grew up with it. So it's like, you know, assuming this is a pretty integral part to most people's lives and it just ends, there's no warning. It just ends. And they're like, okay, what else is on?
I feel like considering the fact that like Truman is like dominating the airwaves, he's like getting the highest ratings. I can't even imagine that like any sitcoms, like Friends would not be successful because like Truman's on. You
Yeah.
know what I mean? Like it's
Yeah.
just
There's
I
probably nothing else on
what
the
else is
TV. Why
on? The
would there
news.
be?
Why would
Yeah, nothing
anybody
else
put
would have been invented.
Yeah, it's strange how quickly they dropped it.
Very strange because you'd think, yeah, people who have a much more visceral reaction and much more like they're also their own existential crisis of, well, what do I do now? What
Yeah.
do I follow now? How am I supposed to know what happens to him? Because again, if you once you become so invested in something, once it's like suddenly ripped away from you, like what do you do?
I'd
How
imagine that
about now?
California got a lot more tourism because of that's where he was.
Hmm.
I'm gonna go to California. I'm gonna go to LA, see if I can find Truman.
Yeah. It's kind of like it makes a point to be like things are so replaceable. Like it ends and it's just like something else will fill the space.
Yep.
Something else will come in. It's just replaceable.
People will forget. And
Well, they did with Game of Thrones, right?
With what?
That
With what? With
was
who?
with Game of Thrones. Huh? Huh? What? You don't remember
Yeah.
that show?
I mean, I never.
It took the world by storm. Everybody was watching it week to week. It was
Hmm.
amazing. Everybody had amazing things to say. It ends with like a terrible ending, which arguably Truman Show's ending's probably better than this one. But I think like Game of Thrones is definitely one of those things that was so ingrained in like I want to say
Yeah.
the cultural zeitgeist just to sound smart. But I don't think that that's correct. But it was like so like all consuming for years and years and then it just disappeared.
Do you guys have like any like your favorite scene or like favorite moments or quotes? His like a little bit of a catchphrase where he's like, "Good morning. Oh, and if I, in case I don't see ya, good afternoon, good evening, and good night." Like,
Yeah.
I think that's really cute. Kind of.
Iconic.
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah. Everything else I don't think there's anything else that's really quotable.
I still like it's not quotable, but part that like still just kind of sticks in my mind and I find just kind of funny is him with the soap on the mirror. He just makes different things and then
Yeah.
It's
does
The
silly things.
astronaut.
And I want to know, like within universe, the origin of that
no.
because it's clearly something that is done for a camera. It is an action that is visually interesting, like that if you are someone watching would love to see. I mean, I loved watching that. It's really cute. It's charming. It gets you invested, right? But how many people in the real world do that kind of thing and do it, you know what I mean? With any
Yeah.
some regularity, right? It is very whimsical and spontaneous, but how I don't know, it's curious how did they inspire that whimsy and spontaneity within him over the years, right? That's
Was that
just
is it a nature versus nurture thing in him?
yeah. Is he just by like I said nature
No.
just a very whimsical, adventurous person, which we are led to believe because he does want to travel. He does want to see things and do things, right? Um, with having these little, and then that desire grows as like little things continue to happen to him, and he gets those little cracks in the brainwashing of like, this is not reality, this is not normal, something odd is going on.
Yeah, like when a stranger calls him Truman, he's like, "Wait a second. Okay, I think the ending. So when
Mhm.
the creator is speaking through like the loudspeaker
Mhm.
and Truman's at like the top of the stairs And he's like, well, say something, goddammit. You're on television. You're live to the whole world. And Truman just says, in case I don't see you, good afternoon, good evening, and good night. And then he
Leave.
bows and leaves. And I
Just
personally
chills.
can't think of a better like ending for
Hmm.
Truman. I feel like he ended with like the last word by doing that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that was a really good ending for him. And then, oh God, I just wonder when he steps through that door, what happens? Do executives come and ru rush to meet him, and they're just like, "Hi, Truman," and like, "Here's your way out." Like, welcome to the real world. Like, what was it like for him, or did he just walk out a door and
He's
into
just
the
on the
real
streets
world?
of LA.
Yeah,
Yeah.
And I mean, you could get really existential and more metaphorical, and that entire scene is just him dying, really.
No, Megan.
Well, he's in this giant storm, which he does make it out of, but then he's literally ascending steps into the sky. He speaks to the voice of God, who is literally his God, controlling his entire life, doing absolutely everything. He is the man watching him. And then he goes into the void. He goes into the light. He exits that
I
reality.
hate this theory.
He died.
Right,
He
but I
died. He's
hate
dead. He's dead.
like
He spoke to
I
God. He saw God. He passed on to the next life. Even if that actually is to happen, that is the death of Truman in that reality. Even if he were in like to actually walk out onto the streets of LA, he died. His
that
previous
version of
that is
Truman.
death, and he has gone into the next reality. He has gone to the place beyond.
Okay,
And
that's fine. I'm fine
knows.
with that.
No, there was
I
spikes
thought you
on
were
the.
like actually dead. He
Both.
actually died in the boating
Yeah,
accident,
you
and
can read
that
it
was the
both
whole
ways. He
time.
actually died, and then everything else was just made up after. It was
Yep.
just his
No, what actually
dying
happened
brain
is he walks
wanting
through
to
the
escape, and he
doorway.
actually did die.
After the doorway, it's just a pit to like some spikes on the ground, and they killed him. That's what happened.
R.I.P. Truman.
Bye, Truman.
Not the ending I want. Okay. Okay, so I went over the Truman Show delusion. That was one of my little facts.
Love it. Me.
Um, so this is Laura Linney, so I believe that was the wife. What was her name? Whatever her name was. Anyway, so
Marion
that
or
she,
Mary.
I believe it was, yes. So she heavily studied Sears catalogs from the 1950s to develop her character's poise. And I thought that was funny.
That's fun.
Um, Instead of his standard paycheck at the time, Jim Carrey, of $20 million, he accepted 12 millions for this dramatic acting service, which I converted to today's money. $12 million in 1997-98 is equal to $23 million today. So almost double. Both of the credited composers appear on film, each in their own scene,
Oh,
playing the soundtrack live. So you know the part where um I forget what it is. He starts to like fall in love or something, and then the creator like points to the guy on the piano and he's like, you know, whatever he says to him to increase the music, whatever. So that was one of the composers.
cool.
That's
And
cool.
I forget where the other one was, but the spotlight that falls at the beginning has Sirius written on it, and Sirius is the brightest star visible at night. So
I
this
think
means the
I have heard
spotlight.
that one.
So it says the spotlight. That means the spotlight was one of the fake stars inside the dome.
That's
Oh.
And then Truman's catchphrase of, in case I don't see you, good afternoon, good evening, and good night. Without realizing it, this is Truman's way of addressing the viewers in every time zone.
yeah, yeah.
But I don't think that's something he intentionally came up with. It's just
Oh
interesting that
no,
it works for them
I feel like that was an implanted catchphrase. Like someone behind the scenes wrote that and figured out a way
to get him
to
into it.
like condition him to do that.
Mm.
Yes. And then there's an early scene where you can see a bottle of vitamin D on the counter, and that's for people who don't have regular sun exposure.
Yeah.
Everybody that lives there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The last little fun fact I wrote down. says Truman's spy ring, which I remember seeing it and immediately being like, "Oh, that's a camera." His spy ring came from his father. He caught it just before his father drowned, and has worn it since. He gives it back to him when he meets his dad, and this is why they struggle to find Truman when he escapes at the end of the movie because he doesn't have the ring camera with
Oh,
him.
that thing was
And then there
ugly.
was, I didn't write this one down, but I remember reading it, and it was like a deleted scene. But apparently there was a scene where his friend Marlon finds him when they're all searching for Truman. The friend finds him but then pretends he doesn't to give Truman a chance to keep going and to keep finding his way out. And I'm like, should that have stayed in? I don't know. Any other thoughts, things you want to throw in before we throw in a rating?
No, I just thought it's for me, I guess it's always very interesting watching and it's enjoyable but creepy at the same time.
I
Yeah,
get it. I get
It
it.
creates too many existential crisis
yeah.
moments. They're just like, but I enjoy it at the same time.
All right, Megan, what's your rating?
My rating, I guess eight out of 10. 8 out of 10. It is, like I said, it is, I do enjoy watching it. I do find it really interesting, really well written, really well conceived, really well thought out. And it does. Like I enjoy the fact that it makes you think and gives me that it makes you feel a lot of feelings. Not all of those feelings are fun, good, happy feelings, but that's
Hmm.
okay. It makes you feel something and it makes you think, which I always really appreciate and really enjoy. Sometimes, yeah, I love a movie where I can turn off my brain. Those are fantastic, but I also really enjoy ones where I'm just like, oh shit, I need to pay attention. I need to think and give you a little bit of a workout. Like your brain a little bit of a workout. I enjoy that. So I'd say, yeah, yeah.
And it's 8 out of 10. Nice.
Anytime.
All right, Taylor, how about you?
I don't, I don't know what I would rate this. That's it.
Mystery. I know. Okay, that's fair.
Question mark? It's high. Like it's not. I really like Jim Carrey in comedic or in
A little bit
Serious,
more serious.
serious
dramatic.
roles. Yeah, he's great.
Mhm.
Yeah, an eight or nine. High. It would be high. Like there's the nostalgia factor, and I also just think that like as far as like a story about surveillance is concerned, it feels very unique even now. Um, whereas like I feel like a lot of stories that are about being watched or um yeah, being watched or seen in that way is more sinister. Whereas like this is still sinister, but it's got like a fun, bright, happy like layer
Like
on top of
we're
it.
just watching him. He's just doing his own thing. We're just watching.
We're just watching. It's fine. We're just watching. So I do quite like that. Um, yes. 7, 9, 9, 9 out of 10. Hi. It's high.
I I agree. I would say like 9, 9.5. Because like I don't want to say any movie is ever perfect. Maybe there is, but I do
Correct.
love this movie. It's one of like my top like 5 favorite movies. And like Megan said, it makes you think, which brings me back to my point of every time I watch it, I just fall into a rabbit hole and I think about it for days and and not necessarily in a bad way, it's just kind of like keeps my brain busy.
Yeah.
Um, but also, like I love Jim Carrey. One of my other favorite movies is The Grinch, which also has the Jim Carrey in it. So
Jim Carrey's just gold.
Do I do outro now?
go for it. That's The Truman Show.
That's the Truman Show. Thank you so much for hanging out and talking movies with us. Also, I'm really sorry if my dog is just whining and crying in the background of that entire thing. Guys, just in general. Apologies to Renee and Megan.
I
If you
didn't hear.
want to, no, you don't hear that?
I mean, I hear him a little bit, but through most of it, I didn't really hear him.
I haven't really noticed.
Okay, sick, because it's all I can hear. If you want to see our faces, we are on YouTube at Were You Watching That Pod. You can follow us on Instagram at Were You Watching That Pod. And if you want, nope. And if you have any movie recommendations, questions, fun facts, you can email us at Were You Watching That Pod at gmail.com. Don't forget to tune in next time when we cover the 1999 movie The Mummy. I'm so excited, guys. I love The Mummy.
I started watching it years ago. I didn't finish it because I was like, ooh, the bugs. But okay,
Oh
I'll
yeah,
get
the
over it.
bugs are gross, but everything else about it is perfect. It's a perfect movie. 10 out of 10. I've already given you my review.
Okay,
I got it for Christmas on DVDs. So,
Wow.
yeah, and I asked for it.
so you watched like all the special features and like
Not yet,
commentary
but
and
I'm
stuff.
gonna. I'm so excited.
All right, let's do it.
All right, cool. All right,
Bye.
bye.